Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. Let's read a little bit from Karen. Well, more people are populating. Karen's book, Simple Light. And I opened up this morning, and this is what Karen is teaching us. Each of us has an aspect of the desire to receive inside of us. But to connect to the light of the Creator, we must be willing to give up some of our physical desires. Are we prepared to give up the natural desires we have? The amount of light that can enter our bodies is directly proportionate to the amount of selfish desire we let go of. But we have to be willing to make room for the light. Because if we aren't willing to make room for the light, we can't ask why we're not receiving it. So, of course, it fits exactly with what we're going to talk about today. So, okay, more. We have Vegas, Fort Lauderdale, Kentucky, Hong Kong, Cape Town. I hope you're beginning to see, like I am, those of you who have been with us for a while, for me it's become more clear, and I appreciate it much more as I deal with students and I see what's going on in the world, that we understand in the center, which obviously we talk about today, we see the big picture. We learn from Kabbalah 1 forward the entire system, how things operate, what our purpose is, why we came here, how we came here, how we ended up as we are today. Like anything else, if we come to understand how a system works, and then something goes wrong with the system, as long as we've come to understand and we have some wisdom or knowledge about that perfect system, once there's a defect, once something goes wrong, once something goes into disorder, yes, it's one, we have to accept responsibility. We put it in disorder some way or another, and therefore it's up to us, yes, admittedly, uncomfortably, but to put it back in order. But for me, what I've come to really appreciate more and more is the fact I understand what the original order is, how it looks relative to everyone and everything in the world today. And therefore, from my point of view, I can put my world as I perceive it in disarray, or the places or parts in disarray. I have the ability to put it back in order. And once it goes back in order, like we just read from Karen, that means then I've opened a space for the light to manifest in a greater, higher, stronger, more intense level through me, because I am the conduit for my life, you're the conduit for yours. But the more intense, strong, powerful, just amount of light channeling through me, the more illuminated, enlightened, fulfilling, serene, harmonious, less stressful, more peaceful my life is. And that doesn't mean there aren't challenges. It's the challenges are not creating stress, because I know there is a solution. And yes, I have to tell you transparently, there are things in the world that I hear in my mind, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, that right now, my brain, my understanding brain knows that there's a solution, but the other part of me, which we'll talk about today, doesn't see how things will go back in order. But that's where I've come to understand even that is part of the big system. So it's not as anxiety creating as, let's say, it would have been years back, even a year or two. And that's what the center is. That's why we started this Spiritual Sunday, to give people everywhere in the world who may not know of the center, but somehow find Spiritual Sunday, have a link to this wisdom that I have gained and come to understand in over 35 years in the center. And I want to share that with more and more people, because I've seen the center itself grow. When I started in 1987, 3 tiny offices in the world, a couple hundred people around the world as students, and that was it. Today we have literally people probably in every country on earth, of every color, nationality, culture, whatever you want to say, coming to this wisdom. Because as I often remind us, Kabbalah is not any religion, it's not a philosophy, it's not a theology, it's not somebody's take on how the universe works. It is literally the technology of the soul, which our soul includes everything we would call this universe, this physical material universe. So it is also, as we say, the Creator's blueprint of this world. And therefore that blueprint, being perfect, as we said a minute ago, allows us, as we will take the moment to have consciousness, or as they're saying in today's world, be in the now, in the present. I can pause for that moment, remember, remind myself this technology, this blueprint, and then compare the perfect blueprint to what I see in my life individually, the world collectively, and then put it back in order. In the terms that I hear my kids and some of their friends talk about as far as video games or whatever, and in the best way, so please take it that way, the Zohar, what the Kabbalah Center is teaching us, is like, if you will, the cheat code to quickly and directly remove chaos, pain, suffering, and death from us and from the world. And that's why the center is pushing harder, motivated to get this out to billions of people. Because it doesn't matter what people do as their culture, race, nationality, religion, etc., or their business, or their profession, or whatever you want to say. Every human being operates on this system, as the Zohar teaches it, and we learn that direct wisdom from the Zohar through these great Kabbalists that have been the pipeline, if you will, the pieces of spiritual pipe that connects us from today. Michael and Monica Berg, the Rav and Karen, the Rav's teacher, Rav Branwein, Rav Ashlag, all the way back, literally through Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who put the Zohar in writing, to Moses on Mount Sinai, and literally back to the Garden of Eden. And beyond the Garden of Eden to the endless world, where it all began. And that's why Kabbalah 1, as the Rav, with Karen's support, took all the wisdom, this technology that the Rav learned from his teacher, down the line by this pipeline, and was able to bring it into 20th and now 21st century, down to earth, fundamental simplicity, not easy, simplicity, that every human being on earth can apply it. Every human being. And that for me is what I've come to appreciate even more, as I shared with you. When I started in 1987, couple hundred students around the world, 3 tiny offices, there was no internet, there was no nothing, there were just 12 or 13 of us knocking on doors everywhere we could go in the world to bring this wisdom to those who are ready for it. Now, here we are on the internet. We have people, as you see here, from all over the world. So we can literally touch the world instantaneously. Okay? So with that, let's do our affirmation together. And it's an opportunity again to raise our consciousness to the next level up, impress deeper, engrave deeper in our heart, soul, and our mind, our consciousness, this truth. So we say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you is how we all live what we can call a double life. So no, the double life doesn't mean, like you see in some of the movies, there's whatever, a man or woman who has a regular family life, but they also have the other life. They're a spy or what have you, like secret agent, etc. Or there's, as I once knew a man who had a double life, we called it, that he had one family, a wife and children in America, and he had another family, literally another wife and children in a different country. So that's not the double life that we're talking about. Yet, as I was preparing, I realized even those things are still one person living two lives, the spy and the regular family, or the family and a completely different family somewhere, etc. Even as we say, we see 8.5 billion physical beings in this world, and the double life is not outside, and it's not what we do outside, but this double life is essentially living inside of us. And that's what I wanted to bring to our awareness. One, that there is such a thing, what it is, and how we can use it to live the one perfect, pure life in one humanity, or as one humanity, as the Creator meant it to be. So I want to remind us, if you've taken Kabbalah 1, if you haven't, please go online, go to a center if you're close to it, take it. If you haven't taken it in a year, I can only encourage you from the bottom of my heart, take it again. You want to know how much you've grown spiritually? You take Kabbalah 1 again, and as different as it sounds, as more impactful it is because you're understanding it in a new, deeper, more usable way in your daily life, that's how much you know you've grown. If a person takes Kabbalah 1 again, and in their perception it sounds the same, looks the same, is the same as the last time they took it, then it's they did not grow or evolve spiritually, no matter what they think they've been doing. Okay, so you go back to Kabbalah 1. The double life begins with, in this world, two voices we have in our head. We can call it whatever you want. Generally, we talk about it as the ego voice, desire to see oneself alone, and this voice of our soul that's godlike, how to share with everybody, love your neighbor as yourself, or as we affirm, greater love, kindness, and compassion to all human beings. Or the bottom line is the ego, which is taking, I want, for me, versus the soul that says, let me share, as the Creator did, with everyone, unconditionally. Love your neighbor as yourself. Give love and light 24/7. Just briefly, the source of this is what happened in the endless world. Before we came into the physical world, the Creator created our soul as a container that it could share its beneficence, or what we call its light, the light of the Creator, the source and energy of eternal bliss, total, absolute, lasting fulfillment. So inside of us, even in the endless world, we are vessel filled with light. Two aspects. The vessel, which is the container, the part that wants total lasting fulfillment from the light of the Creator, and the light of the Creator that's inside of us, in every human being on earth, that is the very nature of God's energy, the Creator's energy of sharing its beneficence in order to manifest light and, relative to us, experience the total lasting fulfillment. Not just have the sense that we can have it, supposed to have it, but don't see it. As we share our light, as the Creator did in the endless world, our light becomes manifest and we experience greater blessings of all kinds. Greater light, support, illumination, clarity, etc. So in the endless world, that light and vessel were one. Even though they were, from our understanding point of view, two energies, light and vessel, but they were so united, they are considered as one. We came into this physical world, into what we call the Garden of Eden. And those two energies were still united. In simple terms, in the biblical code, and most of you understand that the Kabbalists teach the 5 books of Moses is true on a physical level. There were people who did what they did and said and whatever, but what the Zohar does as the soul of everything unlocks the code that allows you and me to take what they did thousands of years ago, understand the laws of the universe that they were applying to achieve the blessings, the elevation of consciousness, the purity, and understanding how they short-circuited the light of the Creator to cause the trouble and the chaos, so we can learn from their mistakes and not repeat them. Unfortunately, we've been repeating a lot of them. As you look in the world, chaos and divisiveness, etc. But the Garden of Eden, they were still one. As the code calls it, the two trees, the tree of knowledge, good and evil, the chaos, the illusions of up and down, and the tree of life. They were united. They were united. And when the Bible says God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, the unlocked code was not just don't partake of it. It was don't partake of it to the exclusion of or the separation from the tree of life. Because as we all know, you and me, our soul was there because there was still only the one being, split into two, Adam and Eve. We chose to separate from the tree of life, which could only bring death, pain, suffering, and chaos. And so we separated it. We brought all this chaos into the world. And our job, our spiritual work since Adam and Eve, is how to make up for that, how to fix that. So realize, let's start with just that idea. Our double life is the two parts. One, it's the illusionary aspect of the human, physical, material being and world. And then there's the other, which is the pure and perfect spiritual world, the realm beyond the 5 senses, beyond the physical world. So we are both, right? We have a physical body and all the influence of desire to see for oneself alone, that the body, the humanness influences us too. And as you've learned, we have, as we'll talk about here in a moment, we have those two voices in our head that in the human side is the part of what we call the opponent that's telling us just to take, get, think of myself alone. Even not in a, quote, bad way, but people who are looking in their life and saying, no, they have to have a good job, make money, handle their family, blah, 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 like that. But it's about them, their selves. Our job is to take the soul that's in us, the real light-like part of us, and live more of that. Live more from the divinity that we are. As we often have said, we are pure and perfect beings of light. Every human being on earth is a pure and perfect being of light, because every one of us has a vessel, a soul, from the one soul extended out into 8.5 billion bodies, but our piece of soul, let's call it, filled with light. Everybody. Person couldn't exist. People can't live and breathe if they didn't have the light of the Creator, that breath of the light of the Creator inside of them. That's what death is. The Creator's energy goes. If you think, you look at people and you, as of yesterday, or before you came to Kabbalah, you'd look at them and say, oh, those are evil people. Look what they're doing. They're doing all the horrendous things. No, you and I learn, yes, people do horrendous things of different degrees, but the fact that they can breathe, the fact that they can walk and talk, is because the light of the Creator, they have a soul inside them. And the soul cannot be anything but perfect, because it is filled with the infinite, perfect light of the Creator. Our free will, which is how we were able, temporarily, illusionarily, meaning in a short term, relative to endless, we were able to disconnect from the tree of life, is because we could use the soul's energy expressed in a negative, detrimental way, first and foremost to oneself, and as a byproduct or collateral influence on other people. So our spiritual growth is the transformation, more and more, let's call it, of our humanness, desire to receive physical material things for ourselves, and transform that to expressions of higher and greater actions, more actions of sharing the light of the Creator from our soul outward, more and more unconditionally. That's spiritual growth. That's spiritual elevation. When people say, oh, they're raising their consciousness, it does not mean closing one's eyes and just spending their time just to meditate on the universe, on the Creator, or what have you. Yes, you and I do meditations, and we're going to do today also on the 72 names of God. Those are used, and all the tools that the center teaches us, the Zohar, Anabakoa, 72 names, different spiritual cosmic connections, are to empower our transformation of pieces of our humanness into pieces of our divinity. The expression more and more of our pure, divine, godlike nature. And that's the end goal. The end goal is, in this physical world, which is illusionary in the aspect of only being temporary. And yes, even thousands of years is temporary relative to the endless world. Thousands, even you want to say millions of years, billions of years since the Big Bang, which the Kabbalists did calculate hundreds of years ago, 14 point something, or let's round it up, 15 billion years since the Big Bang. So even 15 billion years relative to endless world, eternal life and existence, is still temporary. It's still a limited amount of time. So spiritual elevation is acting more and more divine, imitating the Creator that just shines its light 24/7. Whatever people do, say, or think, the Creator still sending light, shining its light, because that's how the Creator, metaphorically, is just pure eternal bliss. Our work here, imitate the Creator, by shining the light that the Creator implanted in us, expressing it out with consciousness, greater love, kindness, and compassion, expressing it out more and more till all we are is a human flesh and blood vehicle to transport, if you will, the light of our soul, our pure creator, God-like nature, through our daily lives and activities, individually and collectively, to just spread more and more light from our heart and soul into the darkness, chaos, discord, disarray that we see, so that that light of the Creator will take away the darkness, will remove by transformation the disorder, the chaos, the confusion into harmony, peace, unity, love, blessings. That's spiritual elevation. In essence, unity, reunifying those two trees. Let the soul be a pure, unblocked, undefiled conduit of the light of the Creator. That's how they are one. When the light of the Creator flowing 100% through us, because we've overcome by transformation anything, anger, jealousy, fear, anything that's not light-like behavior, so the light flows 100% and is flowing through the vessel or the conduit called our soul. That's the oneness that our ultimate goal is, that we're here to live. Now, usually the first step of transformation as a person starts with Kabbalah 1, or they're learning more and more from the teachings of the Zohar and the Kabbalists here in the center, the first step is when challenges happen. Because we have to be first made aware where our darkness is, where our disarray is, where our disorder is. Because if we're not aware that we have disorder, then you can't put it back in order. If we're not consciously aware that we are confused, then we can't change back to peace, certainty, clarity, and understanding. So the first thing we learn from Kabbalah 1 is there are challenges to wake us up. Our work is first to pause and not just react automatically, react in the old way, shape, or form that we have before. Pause for a moment. Don't let reflexive, reactive, desire to see oneself alone behaviors just happen unconsciously, unthinkingly. Pause allows us the moment to have conscious awareness of the situation, what's going on inside of us, drawing on the voice of the soul inside of us that's guiding us how to shine light, what actions it takes, what words it takes. Understanding it's the power of the light takes away darkness. So I also want to acknowledge, even though some of you are caught up in the idea, or usually as people start to learn, illusion. No, this world is not an illusion in the way of, if you pinch me, I'm not going to feel it. No, the illusion is, let's put it this way. When our buttons are pushed, which is really our soul wanting to point out to us, making an effort to point out to us where we're blocking the light of our soul, where we're not allowing the light of our soul to shine out because of it's blocked by a curtain, if you will, or a shell of fear, anger, jealousy, guilt, shame, judgment, envy, sadness, resentment, go on and on and on. Our soul wants us to see those things clearly, to understand they're within us, and then we can unblock them. the voice of the opponent that comes with the human side, the physical material side, which is there to give us free will, that when we're triggered, it wants us just to keep reacting, be angry, tell them off, put them away. Something, because the opponent in the humanness of us, the physical material part, is the one that perceives anyone, everyone, anything outside of us is the cause of our chaos, confusion, discord, jealousy, envy, insecurity, sadness, illness, poverty, whatever. No. Everything comes from within. So like anything else, the more one covers one's eyes, like if you're looking, so to speak, glasses that you can turn the shades darker and darker, the more blockages, the more veils, the more curtains one puts over their eyes, the dimmer the world looks. Like the light of the world starts to go away. So the key is taking away those curtains, taking away those veils, so that our eyes, particularly the eyes of our heart, see the true reality, that the light is infinite, there's a solution for everything. I have the power within me, given by the Creator, to shine light through these curtains and veils of desire to see oneself alone, and that will break those veils and transform the shell, the obscuring shell, if you will, into transparent, like glass, pure glass, that we see everything clearly. And then our actions are shining light into the world that takes away the discord, the disarray, the chaos, the confusion, all the negativity. But there's also two parts to every challenge. And I want to make sure we understand this. There is the event, the 1% event. Somebody said, somebody did, something is going on out there. That's the 1% trigger. Nothing in the center, nobody in the center denies that those things didn't happen or don't happen. But that's the human side. The divine side of us is the 99%, we call it, is the soul level that we decide how we're going to respond to this stimulus. We decide how we're going to act and handle this situation. So there are two things, two aspects, that double life we talked about, that exist in every challenge, obstacle, difficult situation in our life. Our spiritual work is how to use the 99%, the light, the encouragement, and the message from the soul to identify the shell that we have created that's blocking our soul's light from shining and manifesting great blessings in our life, solutions to the challenge we're just being presented with. That's what our spiritual work is. How to, because each response, whether it's the reactive, desire to see oneself alone, instant gratification, or the proactive, a moment of discomfort, of sharing uncomfortably, forgiving that person, being kinder, whatever it may be. I'll give you a couple examples here. It's uncomfortable in the beginning. It unblocks the soul, lets more of our pure, infinite light shine out into our lives and manifest so we can experience greater blessings in our life. So, a couple examples I wrote down. So somebody says something you don't like, triggers that button. You have two choices, anger or compassion. And remember, each of these choices, reactive or proactive, lead to two different paths. The reactive behavior leads down the path of greater obstacles, repetitive negative patterns, situations, etc., chaos and confusion and darkness. The proactive behavior, transformational sharing, leads us on the path of the light. Higher blessings, greater clarity, less chaos, less difficulty. In the long term, just so you understand, the long term, it's like I-shaped, It starts like this, it moves out, but in the end, it's going to come together. Because as the Kabbalists teach us, even a person who keeps reacting, at some point, and it's all relative to the person, when they've had in their mind, you and I would measure it differently, but in their mind, each individual has a certain amount of tolerance to pain and suffering. And until that pain and suffering gets, in their perspective, overwhelming, they'll just keep doing the same reactive behavior because that voice in their head, the opponent, will keep justifying and rationalizing why it's okay to do that reactive behavior because they got instant gratification. Yes, then when the instant gratification goes away because it's only short term, they have another excuse, justification, rationalization, why and how somebody else took it away from them. Not the fact that their reactive behavior, which was against the purpose in this world, against what our mission and objective is, and against even having eternal bliss. So eventually, we will all reveal all our light. The purpose of what the center was created for in the more physical world, so to speak, over 100 years ago, was like today. Teach every human being on earth how to transform their own consciousness, transform their own behaviors, and speed their process of moving off the path of the darkness more quickly onto the path of the light. At whatever point, bringing again the unity of those two trees. The physical world with the spiritual world. The light in the vessel in harmony. So they said something I don't like, the button's pushed, so we have the free will. Act with anger or compassion. Somebody doesn't treat you right. You can run away or you can express forgiveness. And I want to remind you, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to hang out with them anymore. Forgiveness, first and foremost, is your shining more light on them, so you're free from the stress, the negativity of the anger, the hurt, whatever it was that you wanted to react with, and put you in greater light. Less darkness, less difficulty, less stress. Maybe it's in business, you didn't get the sale you wanted. So, two choices. Fear of the future, what's going to happen? Will you be able to make more money? Will something else, change? Will they fire you from the job? Usually it's all the fear is all the bad stuff. It's because that opponent puts in the person's head all the possible negative futures. Doesn't put in the possible good futures. Fear, by definition, is all the possible negative things that could happen in the future. So that's one choice. Or we can have trust in the light, that the light is our source of all good things, health, peace, love, protection, prosperity, etc. So, as the saying goes, one door closes, another opens. So we have the choice, react with fear or react with trust in the light that another deal will come along, or another customer will come along, or another whatever will come along. Because light fills our soul. Our spiritual work essentially is looking for a container, a vessel, an opportunity to shine our light out into and therefore make it manifest. Or something, someone will remind us, we'll have that awakening, something we did that we would call of a negative nature, somewhere in our past. We remember a bad action we did, or an insensitive thing, or an uncaring thing, or an unthoughtful thing. Two choices: wallow in guilt and shame, which is for oneself alone, doesn't change anything, just keeps the same darkness and chaos and confusion, and maybe even a little stronger than it was before. Or we can do the transformational actions of apology, making amends, shining more light out into that darkness. And yes, even in our past, even if you want to call it retroactively, we are able to heal and transform and repair, let's call it, anything we've done previously in this lifetime. And for those of you who do believe in past lives, we have the ability of healing and fixing even past lives. That's what we call tikkun. That's technically, spiritually, what every religion talks about when they say repentance. But Kabbalistically, it's a very specific effort and work. It's repair, not just God going to forgive us for something because we say we're sorry. It's literally repentance. Repair work is to fix that situation to such an extent with enough light that it's as if only good things, a proactive response occurred. We shined light back then, and therefore we live today as if we unblocked our light back then. And the beauty of going back to that past to fix it is from that moment forward, the light that was blocked, now being unblocked, can flow to us presently and give us that added blessings. So every situation in life has those two aspects, but really there's only one source, the light, because that's all there is. There's no negative energy, there's no darkness, true darkness. It's only temporary. Turn on the light, all the darkness goes away. So these are ways, going back to the Garden of Eden, we can reconnect the tree of knowledge, the physical, material, human part, with the tree of life, the spiritual, pure and perfect light beings that the Creator created us. So what the center's teaching us is how to see that big picture that includes both, as we said. Nobody denies that somebody didn't say that thing or they didn't this, but what we're learning is how I can decide to take the path of the light, which, yes, in the moment has to be uncomfortable, not easy, but simply consciously shining light, and whatever you'll be inspired as you're sharing the light, the voice of your soul will tell you to do, doing it. And therefore, how to add to, increase the unity of our human body with our soul. So eventually, our soul is driving, if you will, the vehicle of our body. That the body is only following the orders of the soul, and our soul is only following the orders of the purity and the perfection of the light of the Creator inside of us, in our soul. So we're focused, like all the great Kabbalists, just listen to the voice of our soul and act upon it. A pure conduit of light, so that eternal goodness will show up. So each of us, we have the potential of living a double life. We've talked about it. Listen to this again after we finish, if you want to remind yourself. But we have the potential to live a double life. Happiness or sadness. Health, illness. Prosperity, poverty. Love or hate. But remember, the Creator, the light force, fills the soul of each and every one of us, every person, gives us life and breath just to exist in this world. And so today, let's together, you and I, live on a higher level of the Creator, use more of that Creator ability that's given to us, greater love, kindness, and compassion towards all humanity, so that we'll live in the pure oneness of pure blessings. We live in the unity of love and on a singular earth of heavenly peace and total fulfillment. God bless. Okay. So I want to thank you. It's been brought to my attention that I can share with you, let's say, a little more often or more powerfully, the appreciation for those of you who do support the programs of the center. And you know, the ultimate is just the spread of the Zohar. Because even though it looks like a book, it's actually radiating the most powerful, intense light of the Creator that exists in this world. Meaning, yeah, it's shaped like a book, but as we're about to do our meditation on one of the 72 names, we know because of the Aramaic that it's written in, the Aramaic letters just shine light. The combinations that make up the Zohar make it the most powerful conduit from the endless world into this world of the infinite light of the Creator. And that's why it says, literally in the Zohar, Moses came to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who put the Zohar in writing, and he says very simply, only the book of the Zohar, because it connects us and channels light of what's called the tree of life, that pure infinite light, will bring the end of pain, suffering, and death to the world with mercy. And so we'd like to accelerate the spread of these books all around the world. So first and foremost, I hope each of you have at least a pocket Zohar, hopefully a sacred Zohar, a set of Zohar at home. But I also just want to appreciate the fact, and I will put it here, give me a moment. For those of you who would like to contribute, that you feel that what you heard today, what you hear in Spiritual Sunday, and or what you learn in the center has made your life better, so that your heart is open up to give and share and speed it up around the world. And I'd like to just go directly then. One, again, appreciate, and as a reminder, I was just told yesterday, we're at almost 800,000 Zohars, mainly the pocket Zohar, has been distributed in this last year around the world. The year before, just so you'll have reference point, we were only able to distribute 100,000. Unfortunately, on one hand, as there's more pain and suffering in the world, people are much more open, because pain and suffering unblocks the eyes of the heart. People are more willing, like we read in the beginning. If a person doesn't open a space for the light, then they can't receive the light. So sometimes it takes for some people enough pain and suffering to wake up, to have those shells removed enough from their heart and soul to be open to receive the gift. And it's only because of generosity of the students around the world we're able to print these and ship them around the world and give them away for free. So if you'd like to support that, the link is there. Whatever you can give, give. But give with your heart, soul, and your blessings. So most of you know, you're familiar, this is one of the 72 names of God. It's made up of 3 Hebrew Aramaic letters. As we just mentioned, the Hebrew letters, Aramaic letters, came from the endless world. The light that they channel is primordial from the endless. Like all things, when they come into the physical world, they take on a physical form. So we did not create these physical forms. These are what came as the light entered into this world. Similar to, we didn't create a body. The soul, the vessel filled with light, as it came into the physical world, took on the flesh and blood that we call a body. So we didn't create it, it became manifest relative to the frequency of our soul's light. In the same way, the 22 frequencies of the light of the Creator, as they came into the physical world, they were separated as the colors of the rainbow into Aramaic Hebrew letters. So this is Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. And this particular 72 name, Aleph, Chaf, Aleph, helps us awaken the pure DNA of the soul, which we want to meditate, will help restore peace, love, unity, the oneness of humanity as it was in the beginning. So just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. Remember the names, Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. And so I ask you, sit comfortably in your chair, in your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands in your lap. Begin to come to a more peaceful, serene, and focused consciousness by breathing in the breath of life through the nose, hold it for a moment, and exhale through the mouth. Breathing in the light of the Creator through your nose, holding the breath, letting it flow from head to toe, awakening more of the light inside you, and exhaling through the mouth to let go of, to release tension, stress, blockages, worries, anything that's been blocking the light from channeling through you. As you're breathing in the light and paying more attention to it, greater consciousness of the warmth, the vibration of unconditional love that's all around you and inside you, the light of the Creator infinite. Taking these moments and these breaths to have more conscious awareness of the purity of the light, of this energy of purity, pure love, sharing, oneness, unity, that the light is. Feeling the embrace of this light of unconditional love. Allowing yourself to relax into it. If it helps you, envision yourself in some place in nature that allows you to have that sense of oneness with the universe. And allow yourself to return to your normal breathing as we envision these energy forces of the one of the 72 names, these forces of Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. See them just above your head. See the light shining out of them. Brilliant white light of the endless. Feel the vibration that's emanating from this combination. The power of the DNA of our soul, restoring the perfect unity between light and vessel inside of us, the body and soul, the human and the divine in this world. Begin already opening your heart, opening your mind, creating a space for this energy. Restoring the pure emanation of light through you to all the world, awakening and manifesting by your actions the pure DNA of the Creator that is inside you. And so let's allow Aleph Chaf Aleph, this energy, enter through the top of your head, that it fills your consciousness and let it flow through all of your being, that it activates this light of the pure DNA of the Creator inside you. Every physical and spiritual cell of your being being raised to a higher vibration of pure unconditional love, health, peace, love, prosperity, protection, all the infinite blessings of the light radiating through all of your being, removing all the blockages, transforming any dark area, any aspect of illusion, chaos, disarray, transforming it back to its pure order and simple, pure goodness. Allow the power of the Aleph Chaf Aleph to remind you and to raise the conscious awareness and embodiment of the eternal truth that you, I, and all human beings are pure and perfect beings of the light of the Creator. Every human being is a pure and perfect being of the light of the Creator. And we're allowing this energy, Aleph Chaf Aleph, to transform all the facets of our humanness, our limitations, our desire to see oneself alone, transforming it into the actions of the soul, divinity. Love your neighbor as yourself. Unconditional love. Shining light out from us to illuminate the heart and soul of every human being. To collectively remove all darkness. So focus on taking that beam of light from your heart and soul and shining it out. See, feel, acknowledge this beam shining out from you to the heart and soul of all your family and friends. Awakening in their heart and soul more of the light, more of their divine DNA, filling their being, awakening the light in every physical and spiritual cell of their being, transmuting their darkness into light, their chaos into order. Notice how you, already feeling a higher vibration of joy and happiness, peace and serenity, oneness of all humanity with the Creator. And now see that beam of light emanating out of their hearts and soul to all the rest of humanity. unconditional, totally and absolutely inclusive of every human being on earth. Awakening in every human being the pure light of the Creator, their pure and perfect light beingness. In your mind's eye, see them waking up to the clarity and the truth that they also are pure and perfect beings of light. That everything that we need, that perfect life, complete happiness, joy, all the blessings of the Creator, eternal bliss, is already inside, waiting for us, all of us, to emanate it out into the world unconditionally. And each of us, all of us, having a greater sense of trust in that light, the light of God, the light of the Creator, that it has the way, is the only thing that will transmute all the world's chaos and divisiveness into peace, love, unity. Reminding ourselves that our spiritual work is just to be a pure conduit of this light out into the world. And it is the power of the light to bring everything back into order, to bring clarity to the eyes of the heart of all humanity. To see their perfection, to see the light in others, and thereby to behave as the Creator in this world, unconditional love, emanating light through the darkness, listening only, exclusively, to the voice of our soul that comes with the power to make those thoughts and ideas manifest through our actions. The world beyond our five senses is already at peace, unity, and love. As we're shining this higher level of light, Aleph, Chaf, Aleph, more of the light of our soul, acknowledge in the vision, in your spiritual vision, you see already greater peace and unity. We hold together that vision, that we all act more proactively, more unconditionally sharing, and already feel the excitement, the thrill, the peace, and the serenity of greater and greater harmony, unity, caring for each other in the world now, and more as we move forward. Express your gratefulness. Be appreciative of this new awareness, this new awakening. Engrave it in your heart, your soul, and your mind. that it stays with you and grows from this day forward. And together we take one more deep breath, anchoring it, solidifying it within us. And slowly exhale and open your eyes. Thank you for joining us. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day, night, evening, a great week, and may we all see, truly see, not only with our heart, but also with our physical eyes, greater peace in our life, greater unity and transformation around us, and seeing the world more loving, more caring about each other. It's up to us. We have the power. The Creator gave it to us. God bless. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us. If you were inspired and enjoyed what you saw, click the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we put new videos. Also, share it with people. Let other people benefit from this wisdom to change their life for the better also. And if you haven't yet, go to the website www.kabbalah.com, spelled Kabbalah, and peruse the hundreds and thousands of classes and articles we have on a variety of Kabbalistic subjects to help inspire you, motivate you, and help you transform your life. And if you would like to support us and help us expand our programs, this program, Spiritual Sunday, and the other projects of the Kabbalah Center, then see the donation link in the description. And thank you for your support. Have a blessed day.